All right. So I would like to give you then an overview. Yes, so we will start with the landscape. So I would like to situate you, situate the application and landscape of options available, and help you to understand and evaluate where this app fits in comparison to other similar applications and platforms that exist in the market. After that, we will go into the platform. I will give you the insights of the main goals of the platform and the problems that we are trying to solve. And also, we're going to have two demos. So the first demo is going to be Sabrina. She's going to show you how to manually do an online exhibition with the tools that the platform provides for that. And the other part of the presentation is going to be a comparison, if you like, with the AI strategies. So how can artificial intelligence help you to make this process faster and smoother, right? And then we're going to have a 15 minutes discussion. We're going to share the groups, divide the groups into this big group into small groups. And we're going to propose some questions that we would like to discuss. And then finally, we're going to have a Q&A session, and finally, the closing remarks. So this is what we have for today. We expect everything to take no more than 1 hour and a half. And yeah, so let's get started. Just 1 minute. Yes. So to situate the platform, I think it's we could compare to two categories of systems out there, right? So one category is collection management systems. So you have systems such as collective access, Omeka, TMS collections. And those systems, they are used for inventory, loans, conservation, provenance, and etc. So if you really want to have control of the inventory that you have, for archiving, right? Those systems are very good in what they are made for doing, designed for doing, which is really keeping control and track of those of the collection, yeah. But the problem is that they enforce the procedures and they're very bureaucratic. So obviously, this is like an advantage if you are an archivist, but if you want to publish content and tell stories with the collection, those systems, they are not made for that. They have some modules that help the museum or other kinds of country institutions to publish the collections online. But the problem is that they only present the metadata, right? So they're focused on metadata and raw information about the artworks. And on the other hand, and you have institutions using both. So they usually use collection management systems to keep track of artworks, but also they use the content management systems, which are user-friendly, but they're not powerful enough to represent the collections in the depth that are necessary. So, for example, you have just a few examples. You have WordPress, Wix, Typo3, and etc. And so they focus on web page, blogs, news articles, even e-commerce, right? So this is what those systems are about. And yeah, so there is the problems with that is that if you really want to display your collections in a nice way, they are not actually, they don't provide the tools for you to do that. So the question is there something in between? And why would you need that, right? Or if there is a space, and we believe that there is a space in between those two, because what about if you would like to a tool that help you to publish, to tell stories online with your collections, right? So there is a gap there that those two categories of systems, they don't actually help you with this. And so just, yeah, and this is the platform that we are proposing today for you. So Fabular.ai is an unbureaucratic and fast-paced solution to tell stories with your collections. So just one moment. Yeah, so with Fabular.ai, what we want to do is to help institutions and individuals to use the collections, to use the metadata, not only to display like raw information online, but to help you to create stories with the data that you have. And we want to facilitate the work. We want to take a bit of the burden of the heaviness of the collections, let's put it like that, right? Because dealing with a lot of information can be really difficult. And I think we nowadays technology has achieved a certain point that it is possible to do that. Yeah. So yes. So about the platform, I'm going to show you how it works. But we can basically share the platform into three main modules. Let's put it like that. One is the storage, right? Where we store the data, inject data into the platform. And then we have and categorize the data in the platform. So this is one of them. We have also another module, which is the content production. And then we have also assistant content production. So the AI help you to create your content. And I think one very important part of the concept is the design. So we really thought about making the concept in a way that is publishable, right? And the design is actually enjoyable. So I'm going to give you a short guide into it and situate you showing like the main concepts, right? Because when we have the demo, I think it's nice to have an overview of the platform before. So what we have here is mainly collections, right? So you can divide your work in different types of collections. So just so for an example, let's say here that you have a collection about castles, right? And the idea of the platform, the main concept is that you have a collection of cards, and the cards, they represent objects, right? Not only objects, we can represent other kinds of, let's put it, entities. And so we have core entities, right? So they include artifacts, concepts, events, location, people, and so on. So those are the core ones, but also we can create custom categories for that. So then you have the collections, and the items in the collection represent with cards, and the cards themselves is there where you put the information about your object, right? So here, for example, we have a part for metadata. If you really want to go deep into representation of objects, but this is integrated with the presentation, right? So we have really spent a lot of time in trying to make it look nice and provide a lot of tools for us to be able to make it to tell stories with the collection, the information that we have there. So, for example, you can include text, images, audio, video, documents inside your story, and everything correspond to, if you like, an object that you can represent, or events, or a series of artworks. Let's also, this is a possibility. Yes, and Yes, and then we have also the, besides of that, we have also the AI that we integrated in many parts of the platform. But we're gonna go more into depth into the AI later on. So right now, what I think it's for you to get more an idea how it works, I would like to start the first demo. Then I will ask Sabrina to come in. And she can present. Before that, just to recap, I think it is important to tell a bit about the workflow, right? So we propose a workflow. The platform proposed, it's not impositive workflow. You don't have to follow like that, right? But those are the main points that we cover. So we have a cloud storage. So all your files are preserved on the cloud. So we have content curation and assisted content curation. So it's basically, you have the two options. We give the institution or the individual the possibility to take control of the collection. We have content production, and to be more precise, assisted content production with AI. And we're going to show a bit about that. And the storytelling with media elements, right? So this is really for the audience to get a good idea and understand the value of the artworks. And finally, the publication, which is super easy to do. And so with that, I think we can jump to the demo. As I said, we're going to have two demos. So the first one is going to be the manually curate an exhibition with Fabular.ai. And the second one is going to be AI-assisted curation. And yes, so I think we can jump to the first demo. So Sabrina, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. Just a second. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. Okay, you can now see my screen. Okay, guys, so I'll actually stop sharing and I'll share again in a moment. I just like to make a brief introduction before we start. So the idea today is to put ourselves in the role of curators. So I'd like to invite you to sort of pretend that we are part of a museum. And in this museum, we are receiving an exhibition about women artists in the Renaissance. And let's imagine that this exhibition has pieces, artworks coming from different museums all over the world. So we are this big host institution, this museum, that will actually present an exhibition in our galleries, and we are having artworks coming from all over. So the idea here will be to sort of curate this exhibition, make that exhibition happen by using the platform, right? So we will use the platform in order to organize our ideas and to think how we can actually tell the stories of these women artists in the Renaissance. So, okay, I'll now share my screen with you. And so I don't know if you are familiar with the workflow of curating an exhibition, but what generally happens is that we have, well, each curator works in a different way, but what generally happens is that we have a broader context, right? We know that this exhibition is going to be about women artists in the Renaissance, but we have to, pave our way. We have to sort of craft some axes within this exhibition to make it more interesting for our audience, right? And we generally start with a big list of words, right? When we are crafting an exhibition. So my list of works here, I don't know if you can see my full screen, but I have inserted all the works that will be in my on my exhibition. I have inserted them on a folder, right? Can you see the folder open here? Just confirm me. Yeah, okay, good, great. So I have this sort of, general folder online, which I have, just inserted the title of the exhibition, and I have included all the works that will be presented in my galleries here, right? So what generally I do, sometimes I work with a Word file or an Excel file. I put all the titles and captions in this Word file, their provenance, the museums where they're coming from, and of course the images. The images are very important because they represent the actual artworks that will be featured on this show, right? And I have these images in this folder here. So great, I have accepted Fabular's challenge to sort of, use the platform and use the platform to assist me to curate this exhibition. And what I will do is to create a new collection within the platform, which I will call Women Artists in the Renaissance. I will name it 2 because I actually already have the exhibition in the platform. I will show you in a second. So I will create this new collection here. And I will include, right, all the artworks in this exhibition collection, okay? So I will just select the works and I will drag and drop them into my cards. So you see here on this right corner that I have my works uploading now. And you will see how these artworks will translate into cards, right? So as Leonardo was explaining, the basis of the platform is to work with cards. This is the basic element. And within the cards, we'll be able to edit more information on the art pieces, on the artifacts, or either concepts and ideas and locations, etc. The entities that we are working with. So it is still processing. We can see here. Great. So now, I'll just hide the monitor. So now I have here all the art pieces that will be on my show. You see that when we upload them, there is some metadata that already translates into titles. So I have some of the titles that were correctly, the way I want them to be featured. They have been already uploaded in the right format. Some of them include some, weird metadata that generally comes with some of these files, and I can go into my card and edit it. I will actually use the English title of this piece, so Self-Portrait Bring the Root by Artemisia Gentileschi, who was a very important, you can correct here, was a very important, oops, I'm sorry, it's just added here. Self-Portrait Bring the Root. Okay. So now I will go into all my cards, which are the actual artworks in my exhibition. And I can already start using the platform in order to create some of the axes to be featured on the show, right? As a curator, I like to, I was telling you, I like to sort of craft some access of content in order to help the audience to better understand, the main lines of my narrative, right? So let's put ourselves as curators that are actually tuned into the idea and the importance of good storytelling for my audience, right? So we can see, women artists in the Renaissance, it's a very important topic that has been more and more revisited by feminist literature recently. And, some of these artists, such as Artemisia Gentileschi, Lavinia Fontana, or Sofonisa Anguissola, they were very active artists, and they were working with themes that were recurrent during that period, right? The same for male artists as well. So the fact that we have these women now as part of the history of art, it is something that has completely changed the landscape of what we understand as art in the Renaissance. And when we look into the full picture of these works, we can see some of the recurrent themes that are part of this production. We can see that self-portraiture, for instance, was an important topic for these women. We can see that they feature themselves, they present themselves while performing their work. So we have Artemisia Gentileschi here, for instance, playing the lute. We have Sofonisa Anguissola playing the spinet, which was this sort of, I'm going to call here, Renaissance medieval piano that was was a very important instrument at the time. We can see other self-portraits here, for instance, Lavinia Fontana also playing the spinet. So what I will do is to create some categories here that will help me to navigate within this big collection of works. And I will call self-portraiture, right? So this is one of the categories, one of the main axes of my exhibition. And I will select some of these works, okay? I will select this one. Also, Artemisia as Saint Caterina of Alexandria. What else do I have here? Yeah. Oh, I also have Artemisia as a painter. And I will add these works to the category of self-portraiture, right? Another category of works, which were very current during this epoch, were the representations of some passages of the Bible and also the histories of saints. You know that these artists were immersed in this Christian environment. So I will create a second category, and I will call this category Portraits of Faith. Portraits of Faith. I created two. Let's go back then to the full picture. I'm sorry, I've lost my cards. I'll go back to my cards and add them to my new category. Okay, so I'll just select some of the images that portray passages of the Bibles or saints. Another one of Saint Catherine. I can also select the self-portrait, why not? Because the artist is presenting herself as a saint. Oh, what else do I have here? Judith, Maria Magdalena, and I will add them to the category Portraits of Faith, right? Okay, great. I already have two categories, and just to finalize, I will create a third one, which I will call Portraits of Others. You know that some of these artists, they received a lot of commissions to portray noble women or noble members of the society, the aristocrats. And I will select some of these works into this section, right? Portrait of a Noble Woman by Lavinia Fontana, Constanza Ridossi by Lavinia Fontana. I will also include this family portrait here, just a few artworks to give you an example. And I will add them to this category, portraits of others, right? Okay, so I have sort of my custom categories in which I can actually see, you know, the works that belong to the sections, and will, you know, from that, as a curator, I will start digging into the works, right? Going in depth into the works in order to better tell my stories. So we have, you know, made together this first part of the curatorial work, and I will use the exhibition that I have already created in order to go and dig into the pieces themselves, right? You will see here that I sort of have the same categories that we have just created. I undertook the same steps. So portraits of faith, portraying others, and self-portraiture, right? So this is the main, this is the core of my exhibition. And I have also created some cards, which I have called ideas, right? Which are concept cards that sort of translate some of the curatorial concepts that have helped me to craft this exhibition. Okay, I have all the works here. And we go back to that same level where we were before, right? So I will just choose one of these portraits. Let me just go back here to the artwork cards. And I will go here. Let me see, self-portrait of Artemisia playing the lute. So what did I do with this artwork? So I had started with the title itself, which you have seen, and I started to include and to work with some in-depth content, right? So you can see that within the platform, you can work through sections, right? If you are familiar with creating online websites and navigating through, you know, this sort of internet, crafted elements, you have already probably worked with sections, right? So Fabular editable elements allow you to work that way. So I have inserted here a short bio of the artist. And as a storyteller, I really like to, you know, go into the artwork and start with a description that will help attract the attention of my audience and really attract their gaze in order to make them go deep into the image. So I have opted here to start with the instrument, right? This is a self-portrait of the artist, which is a whole subject in art history, not only in Renaissance art, but I found very interesting that she was playing this instrument, which is actually the lute, and it's a Renaissance instrument that we don't hear very often these days. So I have inserted this question. It is interesting to show you here that we can emphasize some of these elements. So just for you to have an idea how to work this way, you add a section, you can either choose a text, as Leonardo was explaining, a text and image, or an image gallery, etc. I have opted here for the text element, right? And within the text element, I have included this question: have you noticed the instrument Artemisia is playing in this portrait? Why do you think she put it at the center of the image, right? So I like to work with questions in order to sort of engage my audience into analyzing the artwork, right? And I start here talking about the lute, right? So the platform allows me to introduce and include different elements, but also one of the most interesting features is the multimedia part. So I have included here a playlist, right? Where I actually wanted to, sort of make people see that they can actually, read, actually listen to some of the parts and dig into different sort of content besides the text and the images. So once you publish this card, you can actually publish it online. This is the part what Leonardo was saying, right? That is you can publish it in one click. So you can see it on Fabular Stories. So this is published online, and this is how the card appears once you have worked within its elements. And this is the actual image, the page that people will see. And I have done this for all the artworks in my exhibition, right? I think that we can now jump into the second part of the demo, in which Leonardo will show you how to do these same procedures, but with the facilitation of AI, right?
So hi, Sabrina. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that. So I'm going to share my screen now. And yeah, so let's jump into the AI and see how it can help with this. So just one moment. Just a little bit. All right. So is it possible to see my screen? Okay, so yeah, so there was a whole process, right? So when you're thinking about digital collections, the publishing digital collections online, the whole curatorial process and the process of like really digging into the objects, which it should be there. And this is one of the messages we want to really make clear, is that those technologies, they're not there to replace, right? But they're there to help, or to have a starting point. And I think this is a very interesting feature of this. So what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to recreate the whole process Sabrina did, but to get some help with the AI, right? And the idea is to decrease the amount of work necessary. So I'm going to just put some artworks inside of the platform. So those are kind of the same. Those are the same artworks, but in less quantity to make it the demo more faster. And yeah, so what we're gonna do, so the platform helps you with has different strategies that you can apply, right? So one of them, we divide them into 4 main categories. So visual analysis, translation, generation of metadata, and enrichment. I'm gonna apply already some of them, but I'm gonna talk in depth later on. Is just because it takes some time until all the cards are processed. So what I'm gonna do here very fast is I'm gonna extract hashtags from the images that I have. I'm also going to generate metadata, and I will generate categories. And then we can talk further about that. So I put a lot of, so that the platform now will process that. And while it processes, I can explain to you to go a bit with more calm into the strategy that we offer. So we have, for visual analysis, basically we analyze the images that you have in the cards. And if you don't have titles for them, the platform proposes some titles to describe the cards, and also some hashtags, right? So you can see, for example, that some of the cards contain a dog, for example, right? So if you don't, sometimes if you just put the images there and you don't tag them, you cannot find those objects inside of, or entities inside of the images, right? So when you use AI, it helps you actually to your material to become very searchable. And this is a very good help in the curatorial process. Also, we have OCR. So if you have if you have images with writings on them, so we can also extract them, and then those images, they become also searchable in terms of the content that they hold. And also we can translate. So here we support many languages, as you can see. So there is a bunch of languages that you can create your projects. And you're able to translate your cards into different kind of languages. And you can do that in series, right? So book operations. So you have many cards, you just do them, do those operations in all of them at once. And then we have the generation of metadata. This I'm going to explain in depth. And then the generation of categories. This is also I'm going to explain a bit later. And then we have video transcription and audio. So if you have audio material, video material that you'd like to get transcribed, we can also do that. So let's see. So I have applied actually 3 of them. So I have applied the extraction of hashtags from the images. I have applied the generation of metadata and the generation of categories, right? So I think we can see still we have one being processed, which is the generation of title of metadata, but we can already see what the platform has produced in terms of the other ones. So here now the cards, they are tagged. So if you'd like, for example, to search for, as I gave the example before, like dog, you can find the cards very easily. So they become searchable. But I would like to show you something, in the categories. So let's take a look at the categories that it created. So here there is a bit of difference, because before, like for categorization, there was a AI strategy that were called topic modeling. So basically with topic modeling, you would get a bunch of keywords from text, and you would group them by their occurrence. So if you have more keywords, they would be selected to be a part of a category. And the problem with that is that you couldn't extract a concept to aggregate all those keywords together, right? And what we do, we actually suggest concepts for your card. So for example, here, what it found was Baroque art, paintings, portraits, religious art, and Renaissance art. So it's a very global categorization. So I would like to take a look into one of those artworks. Let's select one of them. More specifically, this one. So let's say that you would like some help to actually craft a text. So what we have done when we extract the metadata, and you can take a look at the metadata that was extracted automatically. So basically, we use several strategies in order for it to be possible. But the source here is Wikidata, right? So this Wikidata provides the very good categorization that we can use the metadata to go beyond just information, right? So we can ask the platform to offer us a description to our card. So let's see what the AI is capable of doing here. So it offered the following text as a description based on the metadata that was extracted before. So then we can read here. So that Michelangelo de Caravaggio was a fast influential Italian artist known for its retellings of the Bible stories, such as Judith and the Holofernes, right? So, and then so forth and so on. And I think one of the advantages of our approach is that so we use large language models to offer like consistent and well-crafted text, but at the same time, we rely on the metadata in order to keep the model providing reliable information, right? Obviously, this is required human intervention, yeah. So if you will see, like sometimes there can be information that is not actually accurate, right? So it's necessary a human like to supervise the work that's being done. But as a starting point and like the beginning for storytelling and going from there on, it's a very interesting tool. So I would just stop here. I think it's enough. I would like then that we would go into the interactive session. So for that, I would like to call Sabrina again, and then she will propose some questions for us for the discussion. So Sabrina.
Hi, guys. Yes. I don't know if we have a slide with the questions. I think it would be very helpful to have the questions online.
Yes,
but I
they're in the
would.
presentation. I'm gonna put them here. Just one moment.
Okay, thank
Is
you.
my screen be shared still? No. So I'm gonna share my screen. Just one moment. And yeah, so I have the questions here.
Thank you, Leonardo. So for our discussion today, we are 26 participants, right? I'd like to invite you to reflect upon some of these ideas here. What do you think is the potential of a platform like Fabular.ai and its AR features for your work, your own work, either in a museum or the institution that you work? It can be a school. You can use the platform actually for other activities such as teaching. You know, if you are a journalist, you can also use the platform for publishing your story. So do you think there is a potential of a platform like this, and how would you use its AI features? What are its challenges and advantages? And which new features would you like to see on a platform like this? So for that, we will split into groups of 4 to 10 people. I think we could create actually 3 groups, not to make them too small. This is my suggestion. Let's see what Leonardo and Hannah think. During this discussion, which could take, 10 to 15 minutes, you can choose a group leader, and this group leader will present the outcome of your discussion into our Q&A session. I think that this is the way we found to have a more in-depth conversation with you guys. We are very interested to understand and to listen to your perspectives. So these were the main threads that will guide our, breakout sessions now.
Yeah, so as closing remarks, what I think is important is that we are releasing this month already the beta version of the platform. So if you would like to have access to it, please send us an email. I'm gonna give the email that you should send to at the end of the presentation. It comes fast. Next slide. And to say that we have an API as well, right? So if you, for example, consider that, okay, so I don't like how the UI is presented, we would like to have our own UI and user experience, that's not a problem, because you can have the same access, you can have the the advantage of the editor, but have your own UI or concept, right? So for example, we can support from like stories as we show here to chatbots, for example. The other thing is the integration of custom AI models, as it was raised by Delight, for example. If you have I don't know, your model for language, and you would like to use that for a lot of data that you have, a lot of entries, we can do that, right? You can easily integrate other models. And the integration with other systems, the interoperability, that was also a question that was asked. So we can do that. There is one question in the chat, which is, does the AI link to authoritative sources and database for information to populate and describe? Yes, yeah, it does. But based on the information that is available on Wikipedia, or actually Wikidata, because this is the source that we use, we can integrate other sources as well, right? Other vocabularies, but there are many out there, and we are not sure which are the ones that we should integrate. So in Europe, like Europeana, it would be a clear one to go. But I mean, if you're in the US, there's definitely not the ones that they would use there, right? So this is like, but we can have this link. So also we have our website online. Please check there, and YouTube channel that you can have, like, we are putting tutorial videos. If you have any question about like how to, like, a glimpse in the UI, how to create the cards, or how to include multimedia elements in the card to tell stories, etc. We're going to put everything there. And then we have services as well, right? That you can check on the website. So as the closing remarks, we have, so you can sign up for the beta version. Please send an email to contact@Fabular.ai and write a short explanation. So what do you want to use the platform for? So this is, so I would close here. And yeah, so it was nice to spend time with you, and hope you have enjoyed.